Welcome to the Maverick Paradox podcast, the show for business owners, organisational leaders, and the pathologically curious. I'm Judith Germain, a Maverick leadership expert exploring what it really takes to lead in a world that doesn't always make sense. If you're ready to think differently, challenge the status quo, navigate complexity, and drive real impact, you're in the right place. This week on the Maverick Paradox podcast, I'm joined by Claudia Thompson, founder of the Business Fabrik, who helps entrepreneurs who accidentally become bosses lead with confidence without losing themselves. We dive into the messy transition from solo founder to first-time team leader, the real reasons employees leave, and the 3 behaviours every boss should avoid. If you ever thought, I didn't sign up for this, when managing your team, this one's for you.
20% simply feel overwhelmed with their role because, especially as a business owner, where you are responsible for everything, there's just so many hats that you wear that it's really, really easy to get overwhelmed.
And today our guest is Claudia Thompson. How are you doing, Claudia?
I'm very good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much. So, Claudia, let's see. Do you have a favourite dance track?
A favorite dance track? That's a good question. So for me, I guess I'm very old school. So the first one that springs to mind is Titanium from, can't even remember who sang it, which was at least 10 years old. And then the other one that just came to mind is even older than that, and that's Yes from Dirty Dancing.
Ah, okay. That's really good that you can name stuff, because I never remember. I never remember anything important, so I never know who sung it. Or like I'll go, oh, it's that track that does the thing, but I never know.
But have you ever tried Googling that? Because I can't remember the exact example now, but at one point I was like, I want this song that goes something like da 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 da, and then I could remember like 1 or 2 words from it, and Google actually delivered. And I still don't know how it did that.
Oh, that's quite amazing. I'll have to try that. Brilliant. So, Claudia, apart from that, tell me more about you.
Cool. So, yes, first of all, thank you so much for having me. My name is Claudia, and I help entrepreneurs who accidentally became bosses figure out how to lead their team without turning into someone they're not. For that purpose, I started my own consultancy called the Business Fabrik, and I'm based in Somerset, in the UK. And what else do you need to know? If you're wondering where the funny accent is from, that is German. So I'm originally from Germany, but I've now been in the UK for 15 years and have never looked back.
Oh, I must admit, when I saw your name, because I've worked with so many Europeans, I wanted to say Claudia, actually.
Well, it is. If you wanted to be German, it's Claudia. But I do realise that over here, Claudia is a lot more natural.
Yeah, it's quite funny, because I realised that I've done so much, I think, especially since COVID, doing so much sort of like remote training across Europe, that I'm defaulting now to European pronunciations of names as a first, as opposed to like a secondary.
Oh, that's a good skill to have. No, go for it. If you want to, use some foreign language,
Unfortunately, I can't speak any language. But yeah, that's so funny. All right then. So, Claudia, tell me then, when you worked with people and the accidental bosses, I'm assuming you mean that they started off as freelancers or like a micro business, and then they expanded, and then they got like an employee as opposed to another freelancer working with them.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's spot on, because so many business owners out there, they start because they see a gap in the market, or they want to turn their passion into a living, or they just don't want to work for someone else. But they start their business, and then suddenly it's going really, really well. And then they find themselves faced with the fact that they can't handle it alone anymore, and they will need to hire people, and all the things that work when you're maybe a team of 2 or 3, they stop working once you're a team of 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 people. So at that point is usually when people are like, oh, I never planned to be a boss or to be a leader, someone that people look up to. What do I do? How do I cope?
Okay. So how is it different from, I don't know, a first-time manager in an organization?
So you mean like a manager in an organization?
Yeah, because I'm just sort of thinking, is it not the same, like, or is it different because they own it? So I'm just trying to work out what's the difference between someone being a team lead or something,
Yeah.
gets promoted to their first manager job, and a business owner that starts to hire employees.
Yeah, I think with managers in an organization, they have that added difficulty of wanting to do really good for their team, but they're also not necessarily the ones that have the decision-making power. They're not necessarily the ones that pull the strings. So their very own, they have their very own restrictions. While business owners, the mummy or daddy of the business, they are but personally responsible for the team that works for them, and for the lives they touch, for the salaries they pay, and so on. And I think they have that added pressure that they don't necessarily have that separation between what is my job or what is my business and what is my personal life. And yeah, that's why I also think that small business owners are a bit underrepresented in the corporate teachings out there, or in the leadership consulting office. Because they're very much, a lot of them are very corporate, and this is how you do it in a big organization with endless money and endless resources. Well, I think in small businesses, they're still very much looking at the bottom line, looking at, okay, how do I make the best with what I'm given, and do best by everyone.
Okay, so what are the needs that they're facing then?
The what needs?
Yeah, so the business owner, what is it that, because out of all the different things, is there a particular type of skill, like not knowing how to delegate? What is it that makes it a problem for them?
Well, pretty much all of it. So, yes, a lack of delegating is probably the main one, or definitely one of the original ones, because as I touched on, the business is their baby. So, if we want to go back to the baby analogy, they gave birth to it, they breastfed it, they grew it into what it is, into what it is now. And then they find it possibly hard to let go and trust someone else that they do just a good a job as they could do it. They have to be the ones motivating the team, keeping morale high, creating the culture. Um, Also, they paint the vision or the direction of where the business is headed next. And all of that, if you never learn how to do that, or if no one ever showed you, or you don't have any idols to look up to in that space, I think there's a lot of swimming happening. So, the whole duck analogy of, you're very calm on the top of the water, but underneath your feet are just pedaling like crazy.
I know that. I know that. So how do people find you then?
They find me hopefully through my book. But yeah, I also do public speaking. I'm on social media. I do a lot of networking. And yeah, word of mouth. So lots of different paths, because everyone, as you would know, every journey and every manager's or leader's role or journey is different. And they meet you through different or in different places at different times, and some might need more touch points than other, or something has to really go wrong for them to realize that, oh, maybe I should get some help.
Okay. And tell me about your book. What is it covering?
Okay, so the subtitle or the title of the book is Take Charge. The subtitle is The Boss Method for Entrepreneurs Who Never Plan to Be Leaders. So it's quite a mouthful, but I do like that because it's, that in itself is a starting point. And I almost see it as a handbook that I wish I had when I started my business, but also when I was promoted to manager in a previous role. And it's basically the 4-step process that I use with business owners when I work with them one-to-one. And it starts with the whole business owner mindset. And we cover things like what is a leader, what is a manager. I know you discovered that or you discussed that in one of your previous episodes with one of your guests as well. So the first bit is all about what's the right mindset, what are the limiting beliefs, and so on. Then we go to where is this ship actually going? Because a lot of problems arise because the leader of the ship or the boss, the business owner, just doesn't know where they're headed. Where's this business going? Are we going global? Are we regional? Are we national? How many offices do we want? How many members of staff, and so on? So that's the second part. We just look at, well, what do you want it to look like? What does it look like when it's finished? And finished meaning different things for different people. And then we go to the next step, which is looking at what's currently going on in the business. So what is working, what is not working, what could go better, what does the staff think? So there's a whole bit about how to get your staff's feedback as well, to hear what they're thinking. And then we take all of that information that we gained from the first 3 steps and put it into a plan that hopefully helps us going forward.
All right, and so talk me through then the common issues that business owners, accidental business owner, has then.
So, in terms of limiting beliefs, I mean that's probably a good step, a good place to start is there's a lot of imposter syndrome. So in fact 25%. So I just read an article, and a recent study said that 25% of business owners feel like they should know more than they do. So imposter syndrome, I think, is massive. Again, if you never learn how to do it and what to do, and that's probably one of the questions I get asked the most is like, oh, so other people think the same? Other people have that too? So they're waiting for this reassurance to say there's nothing wrong with them. They don't need fixing. In the same study about the 25% that feel they should know more, it also said that 20% simply feel overwhelmed with their role because, especially as a business owner, where you are responsible for everything from making sure the IT works to ordering the toilet rolls to who we're going to hire next. Is our tax return up to date? There's just so many hats that you wear that it's really, really easy to get overwhelmed. And because the lines between work and personal life, they're very blurred. They work very long hours. They're stretched too thin, which results in stress, arguments with their loved ones or staff. And probably a really, really big topic as well is that they start to lose that mojo, so that motivation and that inspiration, why they started that business in the first place, and that spark and that passion, that just slowly gets bogged down just because there's so much other stuff that is going on, and that takes them away from the things that they enjoy doing.
Okay, so if what exactly though do they feel imposter about? Is it because these are people that have never led before?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to work out where it's originating from.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's just it. So imagine you start your business because you are really passionate about, let's say, fashion. So you see a gap in the market for a particular dress. So you start creating that dress, and then people start buying it, and you're really excited because you see your dress or whatever product it is out in the wild. So you start hiring people, and then at one point you realize, oh, I'm suddenly in charge of people, and there's 10 pairs of eyes that look at me for direction, but I've never learned how to give that direction. I've never learned how to be inspiring, in quotation marks. So it's that, and not knowing how to be the boss, really, because no one teaches you how to be a boss. And even if you go to a business course that teaches you how to run a business, maybe how to be a great boss is one tiny part of that, but it doesn't teach you how to be the best boss for your team that's actually in front of you.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So if 25% of people in the workplace aren't motivated, that obviously has a big knock-on effect to a small business. So how should a business owner motivate their team, especially as if, one or two people are disenfranchised, for example, it's going to cause a major issue for that business.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, if you think about, say you have a team of 10 people and only 21%, so two of them are actually engaged and excited to turn up to work on a Monday morning, and the other eight just basically they just turn up, do the bare minimum. That is definitely, for a small business, really, really tough, and especially in today's economy. You're in the UK as well, so you know all about this. But it's expensive to keep rehiring people, and it also takes at least 6 months for a new team member to fully contribute, and therefore it's even more important to get more out of the team that you have. And something that I come across a lot, and I don't know if that's the same with the clients that you talk to, is people think, or they say, oh, I just can't pay them more. So they think the secret to better motivated staff is just paying them more. But I don't actually think so. And in fact, I looked at a survey recently where they asked people why they leave their job, and only 16%, so 1/6, said they left because of the pay. And that means that 84% actually don't leave because of the money. So it's really not the money. And it comes back to people want to feel seen, they want to feel valued, and they want to feel appreciated. So as a business owner or manager as well, anything that you can do to give your team purpose, so to give them, paint their job in the frame of the bigger picture. Like, what is their role? What is their contribution to the bigger company goals? Because if they know that, then they know why they do their job. And that's even more true for the younger generations in the workplace. But also things like setting clear expectations is a really small thing that you can do, but that will make a massive difference because it takes away the guesswork in your team. Because so often when you're not sure, oh, is that my job or is that my colleague's job, then it usually ends up with nobody doing said job because nobody really knew whose job it was. Then also things like give them opportunities for growth. And that's not just promoting them, because especially in a small business, that's not necessarily possible. But it's things like giving them stretch tasks. So tasks that challenge them just a little bit and encourage them to take ownership of what they do. And recognize and appreciate their work. And there's so many things. I could go on and on. You need to interrupt me.
Was one of the key ones to do about making sure that they feel that their work has purpose and it's meaningful?
Yeah, definitely.
Because it can be even more important in a small business to feel like what you do matter.
Yeah. And that goes back to the business owner looking at what is the bigger plan? Because if you know that, actually we want to be global in 5 years' time with 200 members of staff, completely making up random numbers here, then you can say to your marketing manager or you can say to your operations manager, you know what, this is the part that you play in this. So it makes it, if you know where you're going, where you're headed, it makes it so much easier to paint the picture for the staff, what their role is as well.
Okay, brilliant. So before we end then, I'm wondering, do you have like a top 3 things that bosses should not do then?
Ooh, good question. Good question. Yes, because I think there are some things that bosses do that they might not even realize their staff hates. And one thing is, and that's probably the biggest one, is avoiding tough conversations. And I hear that so many times when I talk to people and they're like, oh, I know I should have a word with this person, but I don't want them to think badly of me. So they just avoid those hard conversations because they think that their team won't like them anymore, when actually the opposite is true. Then the second one is probably doing everything themselves. So they're still like, oh, I'll quickly do it. I'll be quicker, which just leads to burnout and overwhelm even more. And then the third one, which I've seen so many times, more than I want to admit, and that is blaming the team. So it's the whole like, oh, they're not doing this and they've done this wrong, and so on. So I think as a business owner, it's absolutely on you, and blaming the team doesn't help anyone. And part of the maverick is you need to self-reflect, look at yourself, and realize your own shortcomings sometimes.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. Claudia, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. And thank you out there for listening to the Maverick Paradox podcast. I'm Judith Germain, your host, and I hope you enjoyed today's conversation. You can't lead what you don't influence. The Influence Blueprint reveals how your leadership is really landing and what's silently undermining your impact. Whether you're a leader ready to level up or an HR director tired of investing in development that doesn't stick, this is where influence gets real. Find out more at maverickparadox.co.uk/influence-blueprint.